Would love to, I'm going to take a moment and introduce my friends here. Renee Cartier and Sarah Jahangri are going to be helping us in the chat. We are all here with Discovery, and we want to welcome you to the Discovery Education Explore a World of Wonder with your child. I'm so happy you're here, and we'll go ahead and jump right in. If you have questions, comments, anything that you want to share, please feel free to do that in the chat as we go through and talk about all these wonderful resources that students have available, not just in school, but also at home. So let's get into it. I'll start with my introduction. I am Jen Moss. I am happy to be the Nevada Partnership Manager, and I want to just give a shout out to our partnership here between the Department of Education and Nevada Gold Mines. We get to stay in schools through the end of the 23-24 school year. So very excited that we'll be around, and I will continue to be here and support you and be providing all of that professional development and support for families. So thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions about our partnership, you are always welcome to ask those questions. I will share my email and all of my information at the end. So you are always welcome to contact me. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Discovery Education. So something that's amazing is that we are truly here to engage all students. And as I mentioned before, it's not just something that can take place in the classroom. This is something that can also transfer to home. And one of the ways that we do that is by letting children access their digital world. So, you know, really transferring all of that learning from school to home. So our agenda for today, I've gone through our welcome, our introductions, and then we are going to be diving into how children can access Discovery Education. And then we will go through 5 different ways to get started. And then we'll also talk about how to find, view, and save digital resources. And then, of course, the most important part is that you walk away from today with all of your questions answered. And there will be a resource document shared at the end. So please don't worry about trying to keep track of all these awesome resources. We'll make sure that you get to take those with you. And, you know, once you have it, please feel free to share it out. All right, so let's talk about how to get to Discovery Education. So we have, of course, integration through Clever. We have integration through ClassLink. You can just simply go to discoveryeducation.com. I would love for you to go ahead and take this time to log in yourself if you are free to do so. And then we'll talk about the different ways that you can actually get in there. So if you go to discoveryeducation.com, you'll see that you have the option of going in as, you know, a Clever login, a ClassLink login, or if you need to, you can also search your school. So I'll give us a moment, and I'm just checking and making sure everything's going okay. I hope that you're all getting in and able to see our wonderful platform. So this is what your sign-in screen will look like when you go to discoveryeducation.com. And as I mentioned, you see there that you have the sign-in with Clever, you have the sign-in with ClassLink, and also the search for your school. All right. Now, I am going to be approaching this from the student standpoint because I really want to focus on the student experience here. And as teachers, I want to just give a shout out. I know I have some educators in here. You do have the ability to impersonate a student, and you can see what it looks like from that student point of view, which is really helpful when you're thinking about, you know, how is the student experiencing using this and how are they able to go in there and use these awesome resources. So we are going to take a look at what that looks like. This is the student homepage. I am Harper right now. And you'll see here that you have access to all of your assignments. This is your kind of general dashboard here. If your teacher is doing a live activity, this is where you join that live activity. You see up here, we have our assignments page as well as our explore page. We will definitely be getting into that explore page soon, but I want to make sure that you see, and if you have any of those curriculum packs, they are also going to show up here. So you may or may not see curriculum packs depending on your child's school and what other things they've gotten into. But all public schools and public charters have access to the Discovery Education Experience through the partnership. So really happy to share that and having that available to students and teachers. All right, well, I'm gonna swipe back here for a moment. And I want to go further into our different resources. So we're going to talk about all of those awesome resources that we have. And one of the first ones that I want to introduce to you are our wellness resources. So when we think about wellness resources, we think about how to take care of the whole child, not just academically, but emotionally, and all of those things put together. So we have awesome resources that are really there to make sure that the entire child is taken care of. And we have these resources for K-12. So this is not limited in any way. And you'll see here some of our favorites. We have our Amazing Me. We have Discover Your Happy, which is awesome, a virtual field trip. We have InterExplore, which is a series of wellness resources, and then as well as our awesome partnership with Sesame Street and their Feelings Time. So we will be digging in and looking at some of those examples here. So we have our first one, and I'm going to play a little video for you here. This is our Amazing Me, and I'm sure you'll enjoy.
Images. They are everywhere. By the time most of us reach middle school, we've each seen about a bazillion pictures online.
Athletes, supermodels, even Bigfoot.
And enough selfies to make your thumbs fall off just flipping through them all.
Images are powerful, but they mostly show what's on the outside.
What about the inside? Cameras don't capture that quite as well.
What happened?
I'm going to pause this here, but I'm sure just that small snippet shows you the different conversations that can start to take place with children about the images that they see in social media, and just really having those conversations, opening up all of that dialogue with children, and being able to do that at home, not just at school. So that is one of our mini resources. And now I want to show you, I mentioned that we have that partnership with Sesame Street, and this is a really great little video here. So I will again just play a little snippet so you can get a feel for it. Here we go. And you're going to love these songs too. They're awesome.
Sometimes the monster that's inside you is a monster that is mad. It's a monster who is angry. It's a monster who feels bad. When your monster wants to throw things.
So, just really thinking about how, the whole child and really, we all have emotions and we all go through those feelings, and it's awesome to be able to share these resources that are there to make sure that the whole child is taken care of and that they find those different ways to cope with different situations. This one is also a K through 12 resource. This is our Inner Explorer. And this particular resource is done in a series. So you'll see when you go into the site, you'll see that you have access to different grade levels. So if you've got multiple grade levels at home, you're able to really dig into each one and do the series that goes along with that particular age level. So really nice to be able to have something like this. You know, you think about all those things that people pay for, you know, the Calm and the Headspace and all this, but we have this available to all students through the partnership. So it's already there. It's already just waiting for you to use it. So really happy to share this Inner Explorer resource as well.
Hey there, it's a
So next one I want to mention, I talked about our virtual field trips, and this particular one is just one example of the virtual field trips that we have. And I love that this one in particular is followed with activities that really take what you see in the virtual field trip and just take it to the next level. So I'll play a little bit of this just so you can get a taste of what it's all about.
Hey man, how you doing? Wait, I thought you were gonna say good. Well, life's good, right, Brian? It is good, but what makes for a good life? Happiness makes for a good life. But what is happiness? If you ask different people, you're going to get different answers.
Happiness is, no, you go. Okay. Happiness is family. You're laughing so hard that you can't breathe for a second.
It's how you feel. It's not letting the outside world get to you.
doing what you love the most and being around the people you want to be around.
Sometimes happiness is really small moments. Being the best me I can be.
Happiness is something that you make.
See what I mean? Yeah, but happiness isn't just a mood. Happiness is good science. Yeah, you
So we do have that science connection there, but really another thing that I want to call out here is again that it comes back. So throughout this particular resource, they talk about the sustainable happiness skills, and then children have to develop a happiness plan, which is something that is really difficult to do. So it really is involving their brain and thinking about a lot of different aspects. So it's a wonderful way, again, to open up those conversations. And students have access to this. They don't have to wait to do it in school. This is something that they can also do at home if that's work that they would like to do.
Hey, man.
So our next one, this is our second awesome way of getting started with Discovery Education Experience at home. We have our books, audiobooks, and podcasts. So all of our wonderful literacy resources. And I think about how wonderful these are in terms of classrooms where students are asked to go home and read or report back about excuse me, new topics that they're learning about. So they have access to all of these amazing resources. And again, they can access them at school, they can access at home, but we're going to dig in a little bit. And these again are K-12 resources that they are able to get into whenever they feel like they want to. So it's not something that they just have to wait for at school. So our first one, very excited to talk about books. So essentially these are video books. So you think about ways that you can really get kids into reading, and this is such an awesome way to really, you know, bring to life, oops, that did not work out. Sorry about that. I will try again later, but we do have a lot of awesome ready to use resources in our student site that'll allow you to go in and look at all of these. In fact, if I click on this one, it'll take us right into the channel. So here we are. You'll see that this is geared towards K2. And there is also an instructional activity part. So that's where they can actually do exercises that go along with their reading. But if they just want to read the book, they have that ability by looking at these full videos that you see here. So lots of great titles and things that are really timely. We've got our Halloween section right here. So fun stuff that you can do at home, and parents can really dig into this, you know, at bedtime, or, you know, just kind of jazzing up story time at home. So really fun to be able to share that. The other bit here are our audiobooks. Our audiobooks stretch from K to 12. On our left here, we have the Weston Woods picture books. These are amazing. I'll play a little piece of that for you in a moment. And then we go, you know, up and up and up. You'll see things that are more appropriate for your high school age children. And then we have our entire audiobook channel. Again, you'll receive a resource document that has access to all of these things, so please don't try to remember it all. We'll take care of that for you. But here is a little bit of our Weston Woods Chato's Kitchen.
Chato's Kitchen. Chato, a low-riding cat with 6 stripes, was slinking toward a sparrow when he heard the scrape of tiny feet coming from the yard next.
So just think about, from kid perspective, you've got the music coming in, you've got all these amazing, you know, illustrations that you get to look at while you're listening to a story. So it really brings alive all of your senses. So really exciting that you can have access to this at home as well as at school. And then of course we've got our older stuff here, and very appropriate for Halloween. We've got our Frankenstein, you know, featured here. So really fun to be able to dig into these resources. The next one that we're going to talk about is podcasts. So podcasts have become really big, we know, in the last few years here. And it's fun to be able to say that we have an entire channel within Discovery Education Platform dedicated to podcasts. So there's everything from science to history, and it's just a really wonderful way to think about learning and working on listening skills. You know, listening skills are becoming more and more important. So really awesome to be able to work on these things at home, and also, you know, be able to bring them into the classroom. So there's that podcast channel that I want to make sure that you know about. And the next, our third big thing in terms of getting started in Discovery Education are the interactives. This is such a fun way to practice skills at home. So students, you know, that they learn their math in school, they get to do all that fun stuff with their classmates, but at home, they can also transfer that learning. They can take it home. There are games, you know, that they can play that are going to help them with their word recognition, help them with their letter recognition. So Archidemics is the channel that I love to call out for that. And another fun bit about Archidemics is that you can actually play those games with other students in your class safely by not leaving the platform. So you can do that, you know, if a child has their friend over after school. It's actually a really fun game. I've played a few myself, and it's just a great way to learn, but it doesn't feel like work. So a really great way to bring all of those skills home. And then we've got also our English language arts interactives. We have Archidemics in there as well. And then as you go through, you see different blending sounds, sorting sounds. It even has some really cool writing exercises where students can come up with, you know, their pirate, and then, you know, write a story about their pirate. So there's some really great ways to bring alive that learning and that practice that is going to help them year after year. So this is academics here that I mentioned before. The kitten hop is super fun for word recognition. This is a favorite. I'm big on literacy, so this is great. And then we've got our other one here, our Celebrate History and Cultures. So we have some great channels within Discovery Education. These are just two of many. We have a social studies channel that is really great to dig into, as well as a timely celebrating Hispanic heritage channel. So we will talk a little bit more about those in just a moment here. Here we go. So we have our great Celebrating Hispanic Heritage. We have an entire channel dedicated to it. We also have, lots of ready to use activities there, as well as interactive things that students can learn more about. And, you think about how you can talk as a family, even talk as friends about some of the things that you see here. And it can be really inspiring to be able to have access to all of these different resources that students, can be inspired and excited by. Here's a video, just so you can get a taste.
Hola, Discovery Education. Mi nombre es Joe Jiménez, soy de Bayamón, Puerto Rico, y juego para los Detroit Tigers. A nosotros los puertorriqueños nos gusta apoyar el deporte en Puerto Rico. Cada vez que hay un torneo o algo olímpico que tengamos que ponernos el nombre de Puerto Rico en el pecho, siempre apoyamos a Puerto Rico. Para mí fue un orgullo representar a mi país en el...
Oh, so sorry. So how great for students to be able to see that representation and to be able to really feel like they're connected to those resources. So I really want to make sure that I call that out. And we also have, like I mentioned, a lot of other resources that students are able to dig into and learn more about. So I think about those learners that really just like to kind of independently dig into things, and we have so much that they can dig into. So these are really just little bits of what we have to offer. We also have that social studies channel that I mentioned. We have social studies interactives where students can really dig into maps and it can help them a lot with their geography. And then we've got things that they can learn about the Constitution. They can learn more about voting. They can really start to connect with all of those things that they're going to see throughout their life. So it really brings alive that curiosity, and it helps them in the future to know what to expect. I am really excited to share our Explore Science and STEM. So in our exploring of science and STEM, we have Demystified, which is an awesome science channel. We also have Demystified the Spanish version. So when we think about reaching students and again, just really bringing that curiosity in and sparking their wonder, these are some great channels to do that. Another great channel is our STEM careers. So we are always thinking forward and thinking about how we can get kids to be excited for the future and be excited about what is to come. So these are just some of those things that they can really start to wonder about and learn about. And sometimes it just takes that one video or that one exploration that really gets them focused on what they want their future to be. So we will take a look within. I would love to take you right now into our STEM careers channel. And just show you a little bit of what we have here. So you'll see across the top, and this is in the student experience, they're able to go in to their particular grade band and take a look at what is around. So I'm going to click right here. You'll see that there's a board that they are able to go in and really take a look at. This one is geared towards a robotics engineer. So they can learn a little bit about what it is. And then you'll see here, it starts to split a little bit in talking about great things for elementary students versus secondary students. And then we have a little bit more information. Now we dig into, okay, well, what could your salary be? What could your required skills be? So again, just really focusing on what that future can be like and what possibilities are out there. I think it's such an awesome way to really get kids excited about that future that they have and what's going to be available to them. So we have career challenges within here, which I love because again, it's like you'll see that it starts with that introduction and then it just keeps leveling up. So in here, you'll see a task that now involves collaboration, talking to other students. So a really wonderful way to get everyone connected to what it is that they are learning about. And then you have a way to extend. So we have these great boards. You'll see them throughout our platform where students can really dig into all of those great resources and learn as much as possible about the things that they have available to them. And then I'm going to take us in. We're going to look at some of those awesome demystified videos here. This one is in English, and then we'll look at the Spanish version. What I love about these is that they are so visually interesting, but also full of such interesting information. So let's dig in a little bit here and look at this demystified video.
To survive, all living things need air, water, shelter, and can you guess what else? Nutrients. We humans call our nutrients food. I love nutrients. They're the ingredients that we living things need to grow, have energy, and keep us alive. But no matter what organisms get their nutrients from, we are all part of something called the food chain.
So you'll see there, again, I mentioned how visually interesting it is. And then, of course, how it brings in a little bit of humor. And you really do, even as an adult, walk away learning things that you did not know. So it's wonderful, thinking about how families can actually enjoy these things together at home. And then, of course, students love to talk. So they take that talking back to the classroom. And it really just creates such a great learning environment. And then I would love to show you a little bit of the Spanish version as well, just so you can see how well these have been made.
Para sobrevivir, los seres vivos necesitan aire, agua, refugio y, ¿adivina qué más? Nutrientes. Los seres humanos llamamos a los nutrientes comida.
Oops, so sorry, I've got them all going on now. So I'm happy to share that out and be able to dig into that a little bit with you. We already looked here at the robotics engineer and talked about how, you can really dig in and learn a lot about those particular areas. So really just want to make sure that students know they have these resources available, that families know that they have these resources available, and they can dig in together. It's a great way for families to connect. This is another favorite, our science interactives here. So we have all those great interactives. We talked about the ELA that we have, the social studies, we have math. We really do have a little bit of everything. And our science channel also comes in Spanish version. So you'll see some of our awesome interactives in Spanish as well. This one here, the PhET interactives are so fun. So when you think about in a classroom, sometimes you run out of time and maybe you don't get to do all the hands-on that you wanted to do. So at home, you can do some of these awesome and easy to access activities that really make science interesting and make it come alive for students. So I'm going to take us into a few more of these. Oh, so sorry, did not mean to take us out. I'm going to take us into our science interactives here. And you'll see, again, I'm going to call out that we have these for K-12. So not limited to your young ones or your old ones, but there really is a little bit for everybody here. So we've got these slideshows where they can dig into different science topics. as well as our PhET interactives, the ones I just talked about. So I'm going to click right here into our balloons and static electricity. And it really is just such a great way. So they get to learn a little bit about the exploration, and then they get to do some actual moving around and really interacting with the content as opposed to just looking at it. So a great thing too is that students are able to create boards in our platform. So if there are things that they want to make and things that they want to share, it can really spark that creativity, and then they can share those things out. So a great way to approach, you know, projects and passion projects and different research that students might be doing. So just a wonderful way to get students involved more and more in their learning. We also have our Learning at Home channel. There is a lot in here. So let's go in and we'll take a look here at our Learning at Home channel. This really hits K through 8. We have some hands-on STEM here, different boards. We have our math section. We have our Get Moving section. So, you know, you think about if you're at home, maybe it's winter break, maybe it's Thanksgiving break, or maybe it's just a 3-day weekend. You have different ways that you as a family can really get involved in different ways of moving around and learning about math together and exploring some different topics together. We have our SEL showcase here, if that's something that you want to dig into, but I really want to take a moment to call out our virtual field trips here. We mentioned one earlier, but we have so many more in the platform that students are able to access and explore and learn more about, and really sparks, again, those questions, that wonder, that curiosity that we always want to make sure that students have, because that's what makes learning fun. And then we have our audiobooks here. So again, thinking about how you can have that literacy available at home and being able to really share with students all of the great books that are out there. And, you know, it just takes sometimes that one book for you to latch on and go, oh, I really love reading. And then, of course, that opens a whole new world. So really happy to share this channel with you. And just for another look, that was K2 that we were looking at. Now we'll take a look at 6-8. So you'll see different types of more, you know, age appropriate things that they can dig into here. They have, again, that Math Matters. We have MLB. We have some really great partnerships that students love. You know, we've got different math resources that bring in Madden and all the things that they really enjoy looking at home. It really, we've tried to bring those in so that we're engaging students in all ways. And then we've got our healthy habits. And again, you know, you see our virtual field trips. Now we get into a little more of that listening and just a plethora of resources here for students to have access to at home. And then we have our Learning at Home Ready to Use lessons. This one is great because it is a moving lesson. And I think that this is one of those where it's really fun for the whole family to be involved. So let's take a look at this particular Ready to Use board together. In this one, we have, you know, different activities. So this is maximizing your muscles. And then you have different challenges that you can get into, different videos that you can watch. And then you can actually track your movement, which is great. So fun to be able to do that. And these are things that you don't just have to do one time. You know, you could do this once a week where you do this as a family and then you see how you're improving over time. So it's fun to measure those things together and be able to interact together. I would love to share a little bit of this virtual field trip. So this one actually made me want to go to New York immediately so that I could go to this building. So I am going to play a little bit of it just so you can see just how interesting, just thinking about students when they see things like this, they probably feel a lot like me, where they want to jump in and go there immediately. But it's so nice to be able to access these different things, these different experiences, and be able to get into them from home as well.
Olivia, coming at you from the highest outdoor sky deck in the Western Hemisphere. It took dreamers and doers from dozens of disciplines and careers to create EDGE and Hudson Yard, a prototype for future smart cities and a place you can visit now. Welcome to EDGE. I'm your guide to EDGE and Hudson Yard. Get ready for the thrill.
So just playing that little bit, when I shared this with some kids, they were so excited and they were just like really, wondering about how is this building made and what is it like to be up that high? And what I love about this is that it goes into different interviews of people that were involved in the construction of the building and the designing of the building. And then what it has is that extension afterwards where students are able to actually bring in some of those STEM skills of designing and pitching a presentation, a lot of those things that we are trying to get them ready for in the future. And it starts here. So it's really great to be able to give students those experiences and have them be able to dig in so early. So before we get here, I do want to take us back into site for just a moment. One of our goals in this session is to make sure that you really have a good understanding of how the site works. And one of those things is that we want you to know that students are able to save resources and be able to access those resources over and over as much as they'd like. So I'm going to use our Learning at Home channel here to show you how they can save content. There are a few different ways. So when we see something that we love, maybe we're really into this 2-stage balloon rocket, we're going to click here on the 3 dots, and you have options here to add to your quick list or to click save. So if I go into my quick list, you'll see that it tells me it's been added. And then the way that I access that is right next to my profile panel. I can click here and I can see now that that balloon rocket has been added, just making it a lot easier to access. So, sometimes students come in and they want to just pool a lot of different things. The quick list is a great place to do that. It's kind of a temporary holding place. So if they've got research that they're doing and they have all their resources there, it's so much easier for them to be able to get in and pull from those resources. And then when they're done with them, they have the option of removing it from their quick list and saving it to a more permanent place. So this is their content. And in here, they can create an entire folder. So if I wanted to make a folder, called research, I can have an entire research folder where I keep all of my awesome resources and I'm able to access those over and over. So really great to be able to share those different ways of saving. I also want to take us up to our search bar here. So if I do an open search, meaning I'm just not going to put anything I'm not going to type anything into the search bar, I can click here and you'll see here that I have ways to funnel through and look at interactives. If I'm in 6th to 8th grade, I can click on 6th to 8th grade, and now I'm seeing everything age appropriate for me and just in the interactive realm. So you can do that for all of our different resources, all of our different types, and you can even dig in by subject. So if I wanted to go into our science interactives, I'm now in a more concentrated area. And you'll see excuse me, that we have our 3 dots available to add to quick list or to save. I can also grab a link and share that. And as I mentioned before, students have the ability to create with Studio. So if they wanted to make something a little bit more involved or create a project based on the things that they get out of the Discovery Education platform, that's available to them. Now in Discovery, you can always click our Discovery Education icon and it will take you home. And I mentioned earlier that we have this Explore button. So I'm going to take us into that. Again, we are in the student activity or student experience right now on their dashboard, and they have this Explore button that they can dig into, which now takes them into browsing by subject. They see some of our more popular content right away. But if they're really looking and maybe doing research for health, then we can dig into health. And again, they can go into their particular grade band and find those activities that are really going to engage them in their learning. So I would love right now, if you have any questions that are coming up, it would be amazing if you wanted to share those questions or even just ways that you can think that students can use Discovery at home. I've given you some ideas, but what other ideas can we generate together that, you know, really bring in all the different things that we can do within our Discovery Education platform? So I'd love to see what you come up with. If you can drop in the chat, just maybe an idea or two, thinking about students and what they can do with all of these awesome resources. All right, well, I will give us some hints, maybe some places to start. So we talked about as a family. Oh, thank you, Clarissa. Yes, the virtual field trips, having those experiences. And then, you know, that research aspect that we talked about, passion projects. And really, again, thinking about how you can use these things over breaks like summer break, like winter break, where you don't want them to completely lose that love for learning and that curiosity that builds during the school day. We don't want them to lose that over their break. So it is a great way to keep that learning alive and to keep it going. And then as I showed you in that Learning at Home channel, they have the ability to, you know, share these things as a family and be able to dig in a little bit together. So it's just a wonderful way to, again, spark those conversations and to be able to really bring that learning home. I also want to point out that students have the ability to personalize their profile. So that's a really big deal, is having that power. I'm going to choose our character here that I just love. So if you wanted to change up your avatar, you can come in and change up your theme, but you can really make it yours, which I think is just something that makes it even more exciting for students. So now we see that color and that character reflected. And when you think about even your high school students, they love this stuff. They love being able to make it theirs. So really great to be able to share it and make it theirs. So I am open now if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you're thinking about students accessing this. Again, they can either go to discoveryeducation.com or they can go to clever.com or ClassLink, and they can access our platform there. You'll see the icon and you just click into it. It's super easy for them and it's so engaging. There's so much there for them to look at. Our resource guide is in the chat. So if you want to click into that and make sure it's working for you. I'm also going to add to the chat my email. I want you to know that if you have any things that I can help out with in terms of accessing Discovery, or if you have questions about what you can do with Discovery, that is what I am here for. Thank you, Tina. Yeah, any insights? I would love to know. So you've got all those great things in the chat waiting for you. And please capture my email so that you know you have that support. And I am so happy to be here and supporting Nevada through the partnership, and really being able to share out all of the cool things that are happening within our platform. You can follow us on social media and see all the new content that's happening. We have our content right now that is very Halloween geared, but then we have our November calendars coming out and newsletters and all that fun stuff. So if you ever are wondering about those things and you don't have access to it, maybe it didn't trickle down to your school or whatever, I'm always available to share those things with you. Thank you so much. And really glad that you all were here, and I hope to hear from you in the future. Some of you I may see in future presentations and professional developments, so I hope to see you there. Thank you, Clarissa, for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're wonderful. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you get lots of good learning in today.